we've gotten someone pregnant every year. And I said, it's mostly my husband. And people, their eyes get big. And it's like, well, no, chiropractic did. That they don't realize that we can help so much more, that it's about life. That's
Mm.
about life.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Healing Hands Chiropractic Podcast. You know, I actually thought about calling this the Dr. Tracy Rush experience, and maybe we can workshop that title a little bit later, Dr. Tracy. But let's introduce the main event here. Dr. Tracy Rush, how you doing this morning?
Terrific. Very good.
So I don't usually like to timestamp podcasts, but this is the inaugural, and it's 8:30 in the morning. And I'm just wondering, are you a morning person, Dr. Tracy?
I am a morning person.
What is again, unscripted here, we're off script, but what does a morning routine look like for you?
Getting up, obviously getting ready. The first thing I do is I listen to my Bible. I'm going through the Bible in a year, working through the New Testament. So listen to that, start getting ready, I'm doing some Zing performance exercises, so get my brain moving.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
So what it is, it's a program that works on your brain, your emotions, getting the hemispheres working correctly, getting us out of our prefrontal cortex into our amygdala and the back part of our brain.
I'm writing that down because we're going to talk about that on another episode. That's awesome. That's amazing. Well, I'm just thinking, it's 8:30 in the morning. I'm like Anna from Frozen. Like if this guy's awake, I'm awake. That's how I roll. So I'm with you. I like to start my morning the same way. So we're here and we're starting a conversation that I hope is incredibly beneficial to folks that are seeking out, health advice, how to live their best life, how to optimize their health, really how to enjoy life a little bit more. Dr. Tracy, I've got 15 questions for you, but before I jumped in, I don't want to steal your thunder here, but I wrote down some things that I know about you. And I thought, what better time to share those things than out the gate? Because I really want to set you up and tee you up for everything we're going to talk about today. So, Dr. Tracy, you and your husband have been practicing since so over a quarter century in. You guys are both Sherman College graduates. I'm from South Carolina, so shout out to Spartanburg and the rolling hills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. You guys are both board certified by the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners, multiple award recipients in the Excellence of Chiropractic from Advanced Management for Chiropractors, honorary members of the Global Who's Who's and the Strathmore's Who's Who's, respectively. Named Best Chiropractor 2021 by Coastal Style Magazine's Best of list. Your practice was recognized as a Distinguished Fibromyalgia Center of America for the treatment of the disease. And you guys are affiliates of the Ocean Pines Chamber of Commerce and the Berlin Chamber of Commerce, because I know you guys are in multiple locations. And so having heard all that, now everybody knows your legendary status, Dr. Tracy. I want to jump into these questions, and I'm just really kind of want to set a tone with these questions with this first one, and that is, what inspired you to pursue a career in chiropractic care, and what is it about the work that you love most?
So it really is my story of how I got into chiropractic. And it was more of that. I was going to be a medical doctor. That was where I was going. And God had a different plan. He definitely had a different plan. And I'm so grateful for that. I had some female issues, ended up with surgery. And 6 months later, the problems started coming back. And I said, this can't be right. I'm 21 years old. They're telling me if it continues, I'm going to lose my uterus. I'm going to have a hysterectomy. And I had no children. Dr. Chris and I were dating at the time. And so I had thought twice, and I'm like, this is not right. Something's wrong here. And then started with terrible sciatic pain from both my leg or my back down both my legs on Thanksgiving Day. I remember it so distinctively that when the pain started, and it was so bad for 3-4 months. And like anybody else, I waited to do something about it. And when I had the surgery, the surgeon said, do you want to have a family? Do you really want to be a medical doctor? And for me, my profession isn't my life. I want to have a family. I wanted to have a husband. So I started looking into chiropractic, but knew nothing about chiropractic. And that's at that point when the sciatic started and January came, I said, I guess I should see a chiropractor because I had no idea what it was about. And the gentleman had said it because I had said I want to be a chiropractor, and he's showing me how to adjust. Well, how do
Yeah.
you do that when you're not even a student? And then all my female issues started going away. The sciatic took about 5 months, but the female issues started going away. And I have two children. I'm at my son's house right now because I'm a new grandma, or a new Mia. She's 2 months old. And so I still have all my organs. And I
Wow.
fell in love with chiropractic at that point.
That's amazing. I have several questions here. And first of all, if you're listening to this and there was a pain in your life that brought you to chiropractic, comment below. Let us know. We're not just having this great conversation, but we also want to be talking with folks that are, consuming the content. So if there was a pain that brought you to chiropractic at some point in your life, comment below. And even more, if you got results from chiropractic, we'd love to hear from you there as well. But Dr. Tracy, I mean, you're saying that you said yes to chiropractic, not knowing much about it. Had you heard stories or seen studies that suggested that chiropractic could actually help with your situation? Or were you just like, I'm just taking a leap of faith? How did you discover chiropractic in the first place as a potential solution to your problem?
I'm going to say it was all God. And at that point, God wasn't even a part of my life, which is pretty crazy. And I knew my mom had been to a chiropractor growing up. She was in pain. Again, the stories of carrying her in and walking out. I knew about that, but very little, very little. I really knew nothing about chiropractic. But
Wow.
I always knew, and my parents knew, that I would always lay hands, that I would always work with my hands, helping people. I mean, that's from little.
That's awesome. Yeah, hey, that's how God works, isn't it? Isn't that funny? Sometimes we have these powerful moments and we don't know what brought us to them, but we can say God did it. I'm thinking about the town that you live in, and I don't know much about it. You've been practicing in Berlin, Maryland, for a while now. How would you describe the town that you live in to someone that may be moving to the area that doesn't know much about it? Paint
So
a paint a picture for us.
Berlin, Maryland is, it was considered a couple of years ago the coolest small town in America. We were
Wow.
voted and won the coolest small town in America. We are not necessarily downtown Berlin, but we're 7 miles from Ocean City, Maryland, 7 miles from the beach. That's where we are. So it's a resort area, but it's more than a resort because the full-time people in the 23 years we've lived there, I mean, it has expanded. It has grown. It's a lot of family. It used to be retirees. That's when we moved in, a lot of retirees. But now it's a lot of families. People come from Baltimore and across the bridge in Maryland to Berlin to retire, to settle down, to have a quieter way of life.
I love it. If you're from Berlin, Maryland, and you're watching this, comment below. We definitely want to give a shout out to the locals. You've been practicing now, I mean, over 25 years, as we said earlier. And I'm sure you have conversations with people every single day about what you do. I'm curious when you're having these conversations with folks, and someone says, "Hey, tell me about what you do." What do you say? And how do those conversations typically go? And I just want to preface this whole question with, because we know that a lot of times people don't understand chiropractic, which is one of the big reasons why we're having this conversation right now, is because we want people to understand what chiropractic is and how it can help every single person listening. So when you have that conversation with people, maybe it's a family friend who doesn't know, or maybe it's somebody you're on an elevator with someone, right? Hey, what do you do? What do you say? And then what do those conversations typically look like?
Always start off that I'm a chiropractor. And they're like, I can see it in their face, like, oh, or oh. But you can see it. You can see the reaction. And then I said, and I talk about how chiropractic is more than just pain, that people will come to a chiropractor for pain, but that's the red light of our car. And it's something's wrong. It's telling your body's talking to you. And so how we restore the in the body and the body in the brain, we restore that communication by finding the bones that are out in your spine. To make it simple, simple, simple. I don't go into subluxation. I don't talk about that. Um, Bone being out of place, putting pressure on the nerve. I might talk a little bit about that, but it's more simple brain communication out to the organs, restoring life.
I've asked that question to a lot of chiropractors, and that may be the best explanation I've gotten of what chiropractic is. So, and I'm just thinking it probably sets you apart. In your area, let's just say you've got a dozen or so chiropractors, and I'm thinking about your practice in particular. What are some of the aspects of Healing Hands Chiropractic that you would say sets you apart from other practices in, say, a 10-mile radius?
I would say our technique. So I know people say personality, but it is our technique. We utilize an activator, which is a handheld instrument that puts a gentle force into the spine. We do not twist and turn, we do not pop. And a lot of people are afraid to go to a chiropractor because they've heard stories, most of them unfounded, but they've heard stories, oh, they broke your neck. No, a chiropractor didn't break your neck. But we break that barrier, or we overcome that barrier by the instruments. The instruments doing the work. We're not twisting and turning. Instruments been around 56 years. There's history behind it. There's research behind it. So it's gentle, and that attracts a lot of patients.
That's awesome. And if you're listening right now, just so you know, we're going to have a flow to this conversation. We're always going to take the first 5 questions and we're going to get to know Dr. Tracy. We're going to take the second 5 and we're going to get to know chiropractic a little more. And then we're going to just have a lot of fun with the last 5 questions and what we call the hot seat segment of the conversation. So one more question for you, Dr. Tracy, before we get into chiropractic, and that is, outside of your professional life, what are some hobbies or interests that you're particularly passionate about? What do you do outside of chiropractic?
I play on our worship team. I play flute. I have played
Nice.
since 5th grade and I love it. So I play on our worship team. Now that I am a new Mia, I have a 2-month-old. So I would say my passion's going to be my granddaughter. I love the beach. That's why we're there. The water, just always. I grew up on Long Island, always around water. When I went to school in South Carolina, I was landlocked, so that was really tough. Have to be around the ocean, have to be around the beach. I just love hearing it. I love the smell of it. Yes.
So, I mean, shameless plug here, but what is the church that you go to?
Coastal Community Church.
All right, shout out to Coastal Community Church. Yeah, it's got a solid name there. Fits the MO, right? Love the beach, love the shore. Coastal Community Church. That's awesome. So we're gonna jump into chiropractic here because we know that there's a lot of misinformation and there's also a lot of gaps. There's just what people know and how they perceive chiropractic. For some, it's easy to boil it down to whatever they grew up with, is in terms of their understanding. But we believe that knowledge is power, and equipping people that are listening to this conversation could really set them up for success for their healing, for the healing of their families, and everyone in their life. So we're going to jump into these next 5 questions, starting with question number 1. What are some common misconceptions about chiropractic care that you experience, and how do you address them with your patients? So that's a big question, but let's just hit maybe the top 1 or 2 biggest misconceptions, and how do you deal with them?
The main is that it's pain, that it's only pain based, that you go to a chiropractor when you have low back pain, or you go to a chiropractor when you have neck pain, that chiropractic can't help visceral conditions. You can help bowels. You can get people pregnant. Like, no, when I do my patient orientation class, or when I do my wellness classes, and I say, we've gotten someone pregnant every year, and I said, it's mostly my husband, and people, their eyes get big, and it's like, well, no, chiropractic did that. They don't realize that we can help so much more, that it's about life, that it's
Mm.
about life. And I just have to tell a story. had a patient who very recently, she started getting well. She was 8, 9, 10. Well, she went through re-exam, re-x-rays. So there's about 13, 14 visits into her care. And she's like, I'm doing great. And our care plans are about, I mean, they're a year, but the active treatment, 24 visits, right and around that time frame. And she's like, I'm doing good. I'm out. And I'm like, okay, well, you're not going to get the best benefit for your care. So I sent her a letter, and it was called From the Heart, and just saying, I am so sorry that I didn't relay the real chiropractic, what chiropractic really is. And she came back yesterday and she goes, thank you for educating me. I am sorry. And I'm like, no, I am sorry that I didn't relay what we really do.
So that's you may have led into some of the other questions I want to ask, but I think it's something worth reiterating. With the second question, and that's explain the benefits of chiropractic care for someone that may be considering it or maybe unsure of what to expect when they come in. And maybe this is a good time to just paint a picture of what is it like. What is the new patient experience like at Healing Hands Chiropractic when they show up? What can they expect?
So, like any, no, I can't say like any, within our office, because I know there's a lot of offices that don't do what we do. We're going to be thorough in our exam. We're going to be thorough in sitting down, doing a consultation, finding out the nuts and bolts of what's going on with you. Not just physically, not just pain wise, but what's happening on the inside. And then finding out why you're really there. And so from there, we're going to do a thorough exam. We're going to take pictures. So we do x-rays within our office because we're not guessing with your health. And then we sit down and analyze those x-rays and then go through, have the patient come back, go through those pictures so we can tell them what's happening in their spine and how it's affecting their whole body. So again, it's more than just being in pain. Oh, my neck hurts. Well, do you have sinus issues? Are you having thyroid issues? Are you having dizziness, ringing in your ears? That's all related to here,
Mm.
affecting here.
So what I know is that it's human nature to say that when the pain of change in our minds is worse than the pain of staying where we are, then we will not try new things. We won't step outside of our comfort zone. We won't say yes to a potential solution. But when the pain that we're dealing with gets bad enough, or even our understanding of the pain gets bad enough, more so than the pain of thinking about trying something new, then we'll say yes to something new. So we've been saying more than pain, but for a lot of people, that's their trigger, right? And so what is the relationship? So I'm thinking about how you approach pain management and overall wellness through chiropractic care, and what results should patients expect when they come to you dealing with pain, or are you going to help them get out of their pain, or what sort of results should patients expect when they come to you?
So I'm going to the first part, and you said the pain of the solution. You have that line in the sand, and it's when it's affecting their daily activities, when it's affecting their quality of life. That's typically when a patient comes in. I can't boat anymore. I can't walk my dog anymore. I can't do the laundry, things like that. So it's that line in the sand. So then it's okay, let's build on that because we don't want it to progress because it's a condition. It is going to progress. It's not going to get better on its own. Excuse me. So we deal with the pain because that's, again, the red light of the car of people coming in. But that's not my main focus. I want to get your whole body healthy. I want to get you living to your potential. And
Well,
and then it may include getting out of pain, yes, but it's not necessarily the only thing we're looking at.
yeah, I've heard it said as well that that pain is a part of life. There's the pain of discipline, of doing right things, and then there's the pain of disappointment, of doing wrong things. But pretty much no matter what path you choose, pain is going to be a part of the process. But you would say on the road to optimal health, that chronic pain or that nagging pain, there's a great chance that as a byproduct of getting healthier, the way that we experience the pain and our relationship with pain is going to change. And it may mean that chronic pain goes away, that nagging pain goes away, but we've accomplished something greater in the process. So,
Always. And I mean, I have patients, been in practice here in this location 22 years, that they're still in pain. I mean, I have patients from the beginning, but they still come in because they know they'd be in a wheelchair. They know it would be worse.
so when you think about, so I noticed in your list of accolades that you guys were listed as a fibromyalgia center of America. What would you say are some of the most common conditions that people come in to your practice asking for help with, and how do you deal with them?
Most common is going to be low back. I mean, that is the most common, or neuritis, numbness in the hands and the feet. But it's very broad. I'll go through the stages where I get a lot of pregnant ladies coming in. No pregnant men. I don't know why.
Not yet, not yet.
So, and they want a healthy pregnancy and a healthy birth. So I'll go months without, and then all of a sudden I'll get a whole slew of patients that are pregnant. So I find that interesting how that works. It really all different conditions.
So when you have, you have patients coming in every day. Again, this is a middle question, so I'm asking a question based on that answer right there. What does someone have access to when they come to? When I think about modalities, or I think about different technologies, when someone shows up to Healing Hand Chiropractic, what, obviously you would say we adjust, and you mentioned your technique. Are there other things that your office offers to a patient to help them find a solution to their condition?
So we look at everyone as a whole, and it's a health journey. And we're one of the tools in their toolbox of health. But we know, unfortunately, the medical community doesn't deal with chronic pain very well, and doesn't deal with internal conditions except for medicine, drugs. So we've become a functional medicine office. So offering nutrition, offering testing, blood testing. So we look at food sensitivities. We look at people's guts, because if the gut's not healthy, the body's not healthy. But chiropractic is the main thing. So we just with using the activator. And then we have a traction table. So it's a rolling table that people lay on so it stretches them out. We have a massage table, which is a water table where they rest. So as far as other modalities like physical therapy modalities, we don't do any of that. Let the physical therapist deal with that. We're chiropractic, where we deal with the spine. We'll enhance that, but the nutrition has, over the last 4 years, I would say, has really built up in our area, or for us.
Yeah, I can only imagine, because 100% of people need it. You know, you probably don't have a lot of interactions with patients that don't need guidance when it comes to their gut health or nutrition, what they're eating, how they're living their life. So speaking of how they're living their life, I'm just thinking about a new patient comes to Healing Hands Chiropractic and comes and visits you, Dr. Tracy. Let's set them all up for success. I want to write the unwritten playbook of success for a patient at Healing Hands Chiropractic. So do me a favor and take a minute and and tell me what you would tell a brand new patient. Hey, you want to get the best results possible in this journey in the next year that we're going to have together. Here's what I would encourage you to do, in addition to, well, no, yeah, I mean, including show up. Show up to your visits. Make sure you're consistent here. What would you say to a new patient to set them up for success?
You took it. You said it. I say, I can't help you if you're not here. You got to stay consistent. If you want the results that you're looking for, you got to stay consistent. But we encourage walking. We encourage being outside. Managing stress. We all have it. We all have stress. It's managing it. So we give them tools to manage that. Plenty of water. Plenty of water. People think they're drinking enough water. They're not drinking enough water. We give them exercises as they go through their care, towards as they get into their 1 time a week of the care plan. We're giving them exercises. So people, some love it, some do not.
What is, I don't remember if it was you that said it in the last conversation we had. Somebody said motion is lotion. And I thought, I'd never heard that before, but I have heard movement is medicine. I've also heard movement brings healing. And for a lot of folks I know who are dealing with chronic issues, a lot of it traces back to their lack of movement, their maybe potentially their sedentary lifestyle. So even a little bit of movement, I appreciate that's a part of the process as you're setting patients up. That's awesome. Thank you, Dr. Tracy. Now we've gotten to know Dr. Tracy a little bit more. We've gotten to know chiropractic a little bit more. It's officially time for the hot seat, which is my favorite segment. And so I got 5 questions for you, Dr. Tracy. And let's say we've got less than 60 seconds for the question and the answer. And we're going to go through these pretty quick. You ready?
I'm ready.
She's ready. All right. Question number 1. If you could travel back in time and meet any historical figure, who would it be and why?
You had prepped me on this the last time, but I said Lady Diana.
Yes.
There's something about her poise, her life, her struggles, how you wouldn't have known it. I mean, you did, but you wouldn't have known it. And how she just looked regal, royal, and just pick her brain.
Love it. Question number 2. What is the most adventurous thing you've ever done outside of your professional life?
So this is, when I saw the question, I was like, I mean, been to Hawaii many times because my parents live there, got married in Hawaii, but it still was part of my professional life. I went on a mission trip to the Amazon of Ecuador and did chiropractic there. So it was with our church and I was the chiropractor. I had a portable table and I mean, literally in the Amazon of Ecuador, adjusting people.
Did they understand what you were doing? Did they have a relationship with chiropractic already, or were they like, what are you doing?
No, they had no relationship with chiropractic, had no idea what I was doing, but they knew I was a healer.
Wow, that's
Yep, knew I
incredible.
was a healer.
I'm glad you know that about yourself too. That's incredible. It's the hot seat, so we got to keep going here. All right, if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? One meal. What is it?
It would be some type of fish. I love fish, a meaty fish. But if I was thinking of this last night, I'm like, I know you would get sick and tired of it, but yes, it would be fish.
That's amazing. All right, share with us a guilty pleasure song or movie. Last time we talked, you said a TV show, but now I'm saying song or movie that you secretly love that maybe people would be surprised about.
I love alternative 80s alternative rock. So Depeche Mode, The Cure, I grew up on that. But my movie is Enchanted. It's a Disney movie, Enchanted. I love musicals. I love happy musicals.
Hey, you know what? Don't tell anybody, but me too. Question number 5. If you were stranded on a deserted island and could only bring 3 items with you, what would they be and why?
Number 1, my Bible.
All right.
Number 2, frankincense oil. There's a whole story behind that.
Yep.
And then my question was, does it have water or do I have to bring water?
I'm going to say it has a waterfall. It does have a waterfall that's fast flowing and likely clean water. How about that?
So I'm going to say my pillow.
So let's go back. And you know what? Let's wrap the conversation up with the story of frankincense. Why frankincense on this deserted island?
I was teaching and I'm incorporating essential oils in our practice. And the power of frankincense I'm not going to say cure, but the properties of frankincense oil are amazing. I mean, it was given to Jesus. It was given to him as a child. And the power of it and what it can do for your body, it enhances your cells. It helps with inflammation. There's so many good properties to it. That's why frankincense oil.
So frankincense, not a fishing pole, not a means by which you can build a hut or catch food. Hey, that's
I'll
amazing.
figure that out. If there's water, I'll figure it out.
That's right. You would figure it out. Well, thank you, Dr. Tracy. This has been fun. This is the first of many conversations. If you're listening, we'd love feedback. We'd love comments. If there was a part of this conversation that you really loved or a question that you guys have that you would love for us to answer in the conversation, we're going to keep these going. Dr. Tracy, this is one of 1,000. So, so much more to get to know about you, about chiropractic, and everybody loves the hot seat. So Thank you, Dr. Tracy, for making this possible. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for the conversation. We'll see you on the next one.
Blessings.